Well, now for a unique perspective on CIT, the company, as I mentioned, expected to announce some type of bridge financing from its bondholders. For more on this, let's turn to Fred Joseph. He is co-founder of investment bank Morgan Joseph, which helps mid-sized firms strategize and restructure in the face of distress. And Fred, of course, is also the former CEO of Drexel Burnham Lambert. And Fred, always great to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you. So
you are very close to this action because some of your clients are also clients of CIT. What are they telling you right now? What are they asking you?
They're scared to death. They're asking us, can they replace the CIT loan? Can they replace it fast enough? And in many cases, I say the majority of our clients that are CIT borrowers, we don't think they can. There's a real credit crunch in the mid-market. And CIT was made difficult loans, secured loans. So you've got to get the collateral released. People are not running around aggressively trying to lend to mid-market companies at the bottom of the cycle. I think an awful lot of them would have trouble replacing the financing.
Well, then in that sense, are we underestimating the systemic risk of CIT?
Well, systemic might be the wrong word. When you think systemic, you think Lehman, global,
a global
connectivity.
Collapse.
That's not what's going to happen here, but you've got 1 million companies, 950,000 companies that borrow from CIT. If we just guess that 5 or 10% of them won't be able to get refinanced fast enough, you're talking about 50 to 100,000 mid-sized, small companies being under extreme financial duress. And I think a lot of them would have made it.
Well, exactly. I mean, that would be my next question is then are we going to see a slew of bankruptcies if they can't get that financing in time?
I think yes. I think the answer is yes. I think they will get that financing done because I think it's the lenders, CIT's lenders' best alternative because it would have cascaded if CIT had gone down. These credits would have had trouble. They would have defaulted. The recovery from CIT would have been much less than you might have thought on paper.
Then is there anything the government could do at this point? I'm not talking about for CIT, but for the borrowers of CIT to be able to bridge their financing if something were to happen in terms of, if bankruptcy were to happen.
The government's done a lot for very large companies. They've done nothing dramatic other than an SBA move for tiny companies that I can see that helps the mid-sized companies and small companies who create all the jobs. Now, in CIT's case, I think as they move ahead, this is going to be the first of a series of transactions. Debt equity swaps, exchange offers for longer debt maturities, maybe some financings. What the government can help them is let them put more assets into the bank and borrow with the Treasury-backed loan at the CIT bank. That'll be part of, I hope, the package of things that save CIT and in turn saves these hundreds of thousands of companies.
Right, these are almost 1 million clients, essentially. Fred, if you were advising CIT right now, given the fact that they look like they're going to get this bridge financing, what would you advise them to do in order to calm the markets down or calm their clients down?
I'd say come up with a plan. There's going to be a number of steps. They're going to have to negotiate an exchange offer, push maturities out on the impending maturities, give up equity for debt. Their equity was worth very little last week. Go back and work out an arrangement with the government, not for wholesale saving of the company, but see if you can work out an arrangement so you can do a Treasury-backed financing at the bank level, sell assets, reduce their exposure. It's going to take a series of steps, but they ought to lay it out as clearly as they can.
Fred, you hear this often. CIT's business model is broken. It's worked for almost 100 years. What's broken about it?
Well, I think when people say it's broken is they moved, as banks came in to compete with them over the last several years when there was a lot of credit, they moved into leverage finance and mortgage finance, commercial mortgage finance, and got caught in exactly the same meat grinder that Goldman and Merrill and everyone else got caught in. They need to go back to their mid-market, small company lending, the business they know so well, and where they've got a competitive advantage.
Getting back to the basics, essentially. Yeah, Fred, exactly. Great to see you. Thanks so much for making it here in the studio.
Thanks
Fred Joseph, co-founder of Morgan Joseph and Company.